Hi, I'm Kevin,
And I'm Amanda.
and we are serving up
All that jam. A lighthearted look at the weekend jam bands.
where we break down the jam scene's biggest stories,
Talk new bands.
upcoming tours,
And show reviews. A little laughing, some hot takes, and an always positive message for the community.
Catching up with Kendall Street Company.
All right, very cool. So we're here with Ben and Jake from Kendall Street Company today doing a little bit of a catch up. You all were one of the first bands that we talked to when we started this podcast a year and a half ago, I think it was, and have loved seeing everything that you've been doing since then. So yeah, you all are at home right now, off the road for a little bit, right? Ben, you all just got back a couple weeks ago. Is that right?
Yeah, we were out in the Midwest, like Chicago, and then we did a little Colorado run with Doom Flamingo, and now we're home until next week when we will be in Asbury Park, Baltimore, and New York City. I might have gotten the order wrong, but something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
you probably start in Baltimore since we're way down south.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
That's definitely what happens. Yeah.
Yours always made the most sense, though.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta wonder. So how was it? How was the road? Like, would love to hear, your thoughts on this latest tour. Let's start with the most recent one, Colorado. You were out here for some snowy weather. How were the shows? And then how was Doom Flamingo playing with them?
The whole tour was awesome. We were hanging out in Colorado earlier in the week, and our friends were like, yeah, you might not even make some of these shows. Denver's supposed to get like 1.5 feet of snow. But we, Ryan and Lewis bought chains for the van. So when we were passing Monarch Pass between Crested Butte and Frisco, which are two ski towns out there, we were going like 10 miles an hour, and we were able to traverse the conditions, and we didn't have to cancel any shows. And they were awesome shows. We had been wanting to play with Doom Flamingo for a while because we had been seeing them at festivals for years, and they were super nice to us. And we even had their keys player, Ross, sit in for a few tunes, and good dudes.
Very cool.
Yeah, they're an amazing band. They rock real hard. They put on a great show.
No, he's in Doom Flamingo. I feel like I know this.
Ryan Stasek, the
Ryan,
right,
from
Humphreys, and then Kanika Moore. Kanika
Moore,
was
right.
supposed to in with us in Denver, but then I think the altitude was kind of messing with her vocals, so she had to bow out that day. But we're hoping that sit-in will happen soon.
Yeah.
Having gone to Dick's and lived in Boulder, I can attest to the altitude is from hell.
Yeah,
This was dry out there too.
Yeah.
We're different. We're chugging water every day.
Kanika ended up borrowing Lewis's nebulizer, which is like a saltwater vapor thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen people on stage, especially at some of the higher elevations, like where you all were in Frisco and Crested Butte with like the little oxygen canisters and stuff. Yeah, I can't imagine being a vocalist, especially, and like coming out here,
When you fly in to Denver, they make you take the cute little tram from where you land to the main airport, and there are ads for canned oxygen in the tram.
That's what people needed the most, I suppose. Yeah. There was one moment where the van, Ben was not there for this, but I was. Ben had left to go to where we were staying after the Frisco show. So this is post Monarch Pass. We've done the Monarch Pass journey. We know what's up. We know how to put the chains on. We know how to drive. And we go into our friend's house to sleep this night, and it's a pretty steep hill. I guess it's a mountain technically, to get to his house. And at one point we lost traction on a pretty steep part, and we were like, now we got to get out and put the chains on. And so Lewis and Ryan were putting the chains on, and we started sliding. We started sliding down the hill, and the trailer started to jackknife a little bit, and we were still some of us were still in the van. So we hauled ass to get out of there real fast. I was not going to go over the side of the mountain with the van. I love my gear, but not that much.
Yeah.
That was the one scary moment.
It's like a rite of passage. Well, I'm
There's
glad
gotta
that
be
you all made it.
Yeah,
There's got to be a song in
stopped,
there.
luckily. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were able to proceed. Ended up in the hot tub that night, so it was chill.
You made it.
There
Yeah.
you go.
That's always the icing on the cake after dealing with that stuff.
So we talked to you, as Amanda said, in I guess September of 22. Then we talked to you in February of 23. You had it was right before Lost Together came out, because you guys gave us permission to do a little clip from it. Since then, you've had Separations 95 last September, and you got 2 singles out. Apparently another one, or you have 3. Okay. You have 3 singles out, and you have another one coming out in a couple weeks. Jake, this is in the future.
Yeah, it's one every month this year, every final Friday. That's the phrase we're going with. And actually, the one coming out this month is Checking Out, and the next month is going to be Mr. Funky Daddy, which is Ben's piece. And it's a weird one, man. It's a weird track, but it goes hard. It's so fun to play, and it's really groovy live. But the studio version, no one has heard anything like the studio version yet. That's all I can say as some anticipation. But every final Friday is the point there.
Mr. Funky Daddy is
it's so much
Mr.
fun.
Funky Daddy is coming out at the end of April.
Yes.
Let me see the exact date. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what was the one at the end of March? What was that all about?
Yeah. Sorry, not to pass that one up. That one's also great. That's Checking Out, which is mostly written by Lewis, I feel like, and Ben maybe provided the lick. The lick. I'm not sure if you did that or not.
Lewis had the original idea for the song, and then he came over to my house, and then we worked it out, and then we brought that one to the band.
Word.
Yeah.
Well, this one, Checking Out, and Mr. Funky Daddy, and the May one is Mans Was a Funky Cat. Those 3 are kind of like canonically related, and also sonically related. They have similar like funk inspiration, like kind of synthetic sounds. I use similar key patches on them. Like Talking Heads kind of inspired all 3 of them to some degree, I would say. Like the funky, we were trying to create some funk music. That was the goal, I feel like. And it comes
What
through.
part of what are they connected to? Are they connected to The Day the Earth Stood Still? Or are they connected to the Lenny the Lemon? Or are they connected to? Didn't you have some aqua thing, a mermaid or something like that, working at one point?
It was nautical. Nautical is the word. Nautical, aquatical. Yeah.
I don't know, we work in batches, I'd say. So this is kind of like its own batch of 3 songs that kind of just go together.
It's a mini series.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little mini-series, yeah.
That's super cool. So I have a question. I've actually been wondering this. So as a fan, right, it's awesome. Like what you were just describing, to know that there's going to be something happening at least once a month, new music. You can kind of wait for it. You know it's going to come, and it's exciting. For you all, is it exciting too? Like just to know you've got these things lined up and they're coming out. Like does that do the same thing for you as it does for the people who love your music, do you think?
You want to take that one, Ben?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, it kind of gives it holds us accountable for our creativity in a way. Because otherwise, like, we're a giant soup of ideas, like from all 5 of us, because we're constantly writing. And if we don't have some kind of goal, like for us to get our stuff out, then we'll just sit on stuff for a long time. So this kind of just like gets those juices to like a productive place, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's exciting. It's like you have something to promote every month, so you don't have to worry about like if somebody asks you like, what are you up to, like with musically? It's like, here's our newest single, and I don't have to be like, oh, this is from a year ago, you know.
Yeah.
I would say it's kind of hard. The timeline is really tight for each project, and right now we have finished through April, but we haven't finished the May song yet. And we haven't finished any of the other songs yet either. But
a lot of them are recorded, though, to clarify. But like,
yeah, a lot of them are recorded, but not finalized.
Stuff,
yeah. So that doing that and touring at the same time, like while also trying to do the Lenny the Lemon rebranding of stuff and also mix the live shows, like, man, it's a large undertaking. Like, I understand why people only release one or two songs a year. Like, it's hard to get everybody on the same page, and just make sure all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted. That's the phrase, right?
So,
Sorry,
you're throwing something out. You throw something out every month.
Yeah,
your name is always out there.
Yeah, that was the other idea. It's just it's a marketing scheme.
It's a business. I always say it's no longer selling out; it's cashing in. It's all about doing the right things because it's a different world we live in. We've gone back to the 1800s where musicians make their living playing live.
Yeah,
that's
so
basically.
It's fascinating. It really is. I feel like I was
so much money. When was I don't even know when the phonograph was created, but before that, you couldn't get, if you wanted music, you went Friday night to the barn and hung out, did a little
hoedown.
To
hear something later, you bought sheet music and you got the local pianist to play the sheet music.
Those were the days.
Good times.
Back in my day.
Are you going to keep? No comment on that. Are you going to keep doing the art too? Because I have loved the art from the singles you've released so far this year. It looks like it. Well, actually, I would be curious to know if it was designed, maybe by different people or specific for that release. Like the one with Andy Thorne, Snow Days, like great. Is that something you're going to continue? Do you think?
That's our friend Caroline Herbster who did the art for the Snow Day one. And let me get her Instagram handle just to give her the plug real quick, if you don't mind.
Rising Tide?
It's Rising Tide. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Rising Tide. And she does live drawings, illustrations, and sometimes watercolors of bands in the scene playing live. And so we've come across her in that regard, and she's done a few of us. And we thought we were going for this like childhood storybook vibe, hand drawn, nostalgic. It's supposed to mimic like a literal book, like a Snowy Day. If you guys remember that book, the red one with the kids. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe it's reminiscent for sure. I mean, it's got a really, that kind of, like you said, narrative story look to it.
And we wanted it to be comfy, and we wanted the colors to be snowy. Anyways, we thought she'd be perfect for it, and she was perfect for it. So that's how that one came about. And the background on those, the houses, are actually like what I hope Lewis is okay with me saying this. It's what Lewis's and his neighbor's house looks like.
That's awesome.
In Virginia Beach. So yeah, because that's where they had the snow day parties. It was a good time. Yeah. But
then,
you can explain the next one too, Ben.
Well, so then the second single was from our friend Brian. I forget his last name, actually. Do you remember his last name?
I think it's Willett. Brian Willett.
Yeah, that sounds right. And he's a fan that has just been coming to see us for years out in North Carolina, kind of like the Wilmington area, I think, ish. But so then one day after a show, they were just like, yeah, we come back to our place, like we've got a nice place for everybody to crash. So we ended up crashing in their place randomly. And he's like, and he just showed us some of the stuff he was working on, like art wise. And we're like, oh man, he'd be great for a cover. And, I guess he hand painted the I Am the Wheel cover. Is that right?
Yeah. He just went and did it of his own accord, and he paints onto like scrap wood. And he actually painted two covers. He painted one, and then he was like, I don't like it. I'm going to do another one. And we were like, okay, sure. And so on the back of that one, on the same chunk of wood, he painted the second cover, which ended up being the cover that we used. And it was better, to his credit. As an artist, he was right. And we also love the colors of that one too, the purple and the shininess, and like there's like this like space, unknown nebula stuff going around the outside there. For a while, it was like sitting in my room, like right there. So I looked at it. I took the photo of the board and then made it a square, because it wasn't originally a square, so I had to kind of choose that cropping. But and then it lived in my room for quite a while. But it's a great piece of art, yeah. And I guess leading up to checking out is another totally different artist. It's our bass player, Brian. He felt inspired one day and came up with this cover, and it's like pop arty a little bit, word art, pop art style, with some bright neon colors to kind of reflect like the funk / like Talking Heads themes that we were going for. And I don't have a way to show it to you, but I hope you enjoy it when it comes out on Friday. Yeah.
He's doing the next 3 covers too, because they're all.
Oh, he's doing all 3. I didn't realize he was doing all 3. Okay.
I think so, because they're kind of thematically related. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Well, he's doing them now. If you can't take it back,
he's doing at least 2 of them. I know he's doing at least 2, so probably he'll do the 3rd. But that's part of the process, figuring it out over time.
I love it.
All right,
we like to do it differently every time.
I like that.
So just to finally answer your question there, we don't really have one person that we stick with. We have a couple people that have done multiple for us over time, and that's cool to return to somebody and say, hey, let's do another project together. It's about totally different characters, totally different stories, totally different sounds, and yet they still crush it. So
right on. Yeah, I love that. Being open to it.
Let's do a case study thing here. Since last September you put out an album, and before that I guess you were out playing those songs. Now you're adding a new song every month. What are you finding? Are some of the songs from that album maybe fading out, not showing up in set lists? How is adding all this new material affecting what you guys do with the set list each night?
Oh, a lot of the songs we're releasing this year are songs we've been playing live for the past year and a half, and then we just finally had time to get done in the studio. But I mean, that's kind of like the tricky thing with a lot of our songs. Some songs shine live more than others. So sometimes we'll have bands come to shows and request songs that we haven't played in a while because they're kind of more like album pieces, and then we have to rework them to try and fit it in. So we're in a weird position where we can't satisfy everybody at every show these days, which has its upsides.
You're winning.
I was just going to say, people are paying attention. They're into it. Those opinions, that's got to be an interesting thing to know. People are really watching. They're keeping track of set lists and all that, right? Letting you know.
I will say an interesting thing about the last album was that we actually were not playing most of those songs live before that. We were playing the first one. We were playing Eyes of the World. We've been playing that one a little bit. Because that was one that we wrote more so for the live performance piece. But the other ones kind of came together in the studio, were produced very much after the fact. A lot of layers were added on. The recording sessions themselves lasted they were over 3 distinct time periods for that album. 3 or 4, I think. So for that one, we've actually been adding more to the pieces over time as people are asking for them. We've been kind of pushing ourselves to learn them. Specifically, I love when it does the thumbs up. Specifically, Please Step to the Side is one that we don't play really that much, but it is a great song and people have asked me for it. So we're trying to add it to the repertoire. But also Disintegration was one that was very much made in the studio that took us a while to figure out how to execute as well live. And now I think we do it great live. So, but it makes it hard to fit everything into one set. You can't do it. You can't do it.
Were these recorded where the goats were?
Some of it was Eyes of the World, Excusez-moi, and Trapeze, and Tightrope, and How Delightful. So what am I missing?
The two, Disintegration was recorded in Nashville.
Disintegration was recorded in Nashville, yeah. And the others were recorded over 2 different sessions at White Star, which is the goat place.
The goat place. I love that video.
Yeah.
That video is so cool.
Dude, but okay, so a funny part about where Disintegration was recorded in Nashville was the same recording session that we recorded Crab Surprise, which is this totally other style song. You know what I mean? You guys,
and Rocky Raccoon
and Rocky Raccoon.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah. So that one took a while to put together, and thusly now we play it more, ironically. Yeah.
We had spent a bunch of time with it. Yeah.
And so you have most of your studio year mapped out there. Think guys, end of April on when I'm going to ask this instead of right now. So don't tell me Baltimore. So what is the live part going to look like this year?
Still in the works, kind of a little bit.
Yeah, every show is its own beast. Like we kind of start thinking in the morning, like what we're gonna play, and then like before, like at before sound check, I'll have like a list of songs that we might want to do, and then if we have time at sound check, we'll rehearse some of the stuff we haven't done in a while. And we'll try and also think of a gimmick to put in our cars that we kind of tailor to the city we're in, if there's time for that. Like, for example, we put Kokomo by the Beach Boys in Chicago, but sang it as Chicago. We did that recently when we were in Chicago. And then the show comes, and then it's just kind of, I'll call on the mic, kind of like we have like a talkback mic that only goes to us. And we'll just kind of set the flow from there, kind of depending on what the crowd's giving us and what we're feeling. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Any festivals you can talk about coming up this summer?
Yeah, we're at a few. These are probably not going to be chronological. I can just list the ones that I remember. Sorry, what were you going to say, though?
I was saying Northlands, I know you'll be at.
Yeah, Northlands. We're at this 2-day thing down in Florida with JJ Gray. I don't remember what the name of that one is.
Got the
Exactly.
good
I love
calendar.
Mofro.
That'll be fun because we were at
call
Halloween. Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. We were at Halloween last October, and that was the first time we played in Florida, maybe ever, as like a public event. We did like one wedding down there once, but and they asked us back for this JJ Gray thing, so that'll be really sick.
Nice.
Very cool.
What am I missing, Ben? There's others. There's the Homie Collective up in Massachusetts, which is in August, I want to say. Yeah. Sorry, I don't have the list off the top of my head.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, I can't even remember where we're going to be this summer. Man.
But a lot of that's still being figured out for the rest of the year as far as like, touring and stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing a show with Papadazio coming up that I'm pretty excited for at the National. That's not a festival, but that's our next big play in Richmond.
Nice. So how does that
That's
work?
for their EP release too.
How does that work? Do they call you up, or do your guys go after them and be like, "I got your opening band"? Because it seems like Doom Flamingo and Doom Flamingo, Papadizio, which you guys do, isn't exactly that. And I love the fact that we've gotten to the point where we're pairing stuff up that isn't. I'm a clone of the opening band.
Mm-hmm.
The headliner is a clone of the opening band, more like akin to guess what Bill Graham did, where he's going to stick Bo Diddley on a bill with the Grateful Dead kind of thing, which I love. So good for you, because the Papadizio people, hopefully what do you expect when you're in an opening band like that? Let me try to pick your head. Do you expect to see like 20% of the total crowd actually come in for you, or?
I don't know, because that's like our like hometowns. We probably will have a good draw there too.
Right.
But if it was in another city, like maybe not so much. So I don't know.
No, I went to see AC/DC a couple times, and depending on the opening band, I was always there for the opening band. But like when Fastway opened for them, they had a hit single, so it was packed. But when Yngwie Malmsteen opened for them, there weren't many people in there, even though Yngwie was fantastic. I mean, technical.
I just saw him a few years ago. He's still going.
Yeah. He came through Charlottesville recently.
Yeah. It's so crazy. The guy somebody told us a story where they were in the studio and someone said to him, maybe less is more. And he said, how can less be more? More is more.
Oh my God. Yeah. He had like a scalloped fretboard so he could do all that stuff like a lot faster, apparently. I don't know.
That's cool.
But I can only handle so much Yngwie before I'm like, all right, I got you.
Yeah, exactly. Small doses.
I feel like
anything else you guys want to throw out?
Oh, I was gonna say, I feel like when we've been opening for Doom and like Dopapod at the beginning of the year, like I feel like we've been seeing great response. Like I like to think that we're impressing people. I feel like I've been meeting a bunch of cool people. If you've met me in the last 6 months, hello again. You know, so that feels great. I feel like we're getting into new cities like that, and it's working.
It's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough. What's our band, Amanda, that broke up? The Bobby Lees. This band, the Bobby Lees, yeah. They're a good punk band, you know, sold albums, got people in the door. They said they couldn't make any money. They had to break up.
Yeah, it's cutthroat out there. You can't. You just gotta keep doing it and hope that something clicks. You gotta be overly optimistic.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. I call it Forrest Gump mode. Like we do with this podcast, we just do it. We just keep going on, and we just keep doing it day in and day out. And...
If you think too much, you're gonna want to give up.
But like, if I think about, and I hope I get the dates generally correct on this, I think it was just over 2 years ago. You all were doing that kind of Virginia. I think you all were calling it a residency, the Kendall Street for Lovers thing, right? And so when I think about that, because you were doing some weekly dates at, you know, the same places and getting out there, like a ton of shows in a short amount of time. So taking that into account and then coming around to where we are now and the markets that you're playing and everything and all these, you know, co-bills and everything, like, how does that feel to you all? I mean, that must be an incredible feeling. And I guess I'd be curious to know from here, like, are there venues or markets where you would really like to explore even further? Because you've kind of like, you've done Colorado, you've conquered it now, you've been out here, you know, a number of times. So yeah, like what do you think when you look back on that?
Well, we did do the Lovers Tour again this year, just because it's like you said, we're hitting all of our strong markets and we're getting the love and are kind of feeding on that to carry us the rest of the year.
And we really get to flex the different set lists.
Like
we talked about earlier, like you can't fit it all in one show. Like this is why people know that, because they come every week and it's radically different.
I love that.
But yeah, well, we hit Colorado like 2 or 3 times a year, but we do want to do a Colorado residency tour in the same style where we're there for like 3 weeks and we hit the same markets every week. Because we do really well out there. Yeah, a lot of small mountain towns. I think for now we're probably not going to hit the West Coast that much just because it's so far away and everything is so spread out. We spent so much on gas, and unless you're selling every venue out, it's really tough. But I think flying there makes more sense. But I think we might go to Canada with this band Apollo Suns in the fall. We're still talking to them, so nothing confirmed. But
we've spoken to them before.
That'd be cool if that ends up happening.
Oh man, that would be incredible energy. You all sharing a bill. They are, I mean, like you all are in their own way, because you know they're instrumental, but like so dynamic. Just like you all bring that energy. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we have yet to see them live, but you know, we know them online. Seen videos of them online. They look like they rock. They put out good tunes.
Yeah.
Now, so that'll be like a whole Northeast thing into Canada. Ideally, that's like the, kind of like one of the larger things we're attempting in the fall.
Nice, I love that.
Now, did you see Dogs in a Pile is doing a month-long residency in LA? So you have an East Coast band hanging out somehow, but they aren't driving anywhere. They are in LA, probably rented a house for the month, you know, which is a pretty neat idea because at least you get, again, the repetition every week. Oh, this band again, they're playing. Well, maybe we'll go see them this week, you know?
Yeah, and not having to drive anywhere is great.
Yeah, it's huge.
Like, not having to deal with that.
To go to LA is like, driving from Baltimore to Florida almost. It's like an incredible...
It's crazy, But that's great for them. I'm pretty stoked for that. I actually didn't realize it was a whole month-long residency there. I saw that they had flown over there, and I was like, man, that was like fun. But I didn't know the nature of it yet. That's cool.
Yeah. There's something to whisper in your manager's ear.
Yeah.
Hang out in L.A. for a month.
You said you could host
my
us,
boy
right?
T.
Yeah. We can chat with Sam about it and let you know what she says.
Sounds great. Yeah.
My buddy from What Plus T lives out there. Probably could get him to come out and live stream you from wherever you played. Do you guys have a streaming thing? Do you work with Nugs or anything?
Yeah, we're on Nugs. We got live shows on Nugs. We got some videos on Nugs, and hopefully more videos in the future. We got video of our Cervantes show recently, so hopefully we'll be seeing that final product soon. Put it out there. Yeah.
We are we've done a pretty good job of having. I'd say we probably have like 100 shows on there, maybe, or maybe that's a little more. But we have like the recordings of probably like way even more than that we're just so backlogged on. So if anybody is listening to this and is looking for to get into some work,
become an archivist.
Yeah, to help us with that, so much data we have and help us get it uploaded and mixed and whatnot, just hit us up.
Right. Are you still using Bandcamp?
Are we?
I know we were on Bandcamp, but I don't know if we've updated it recently at all. Every now and then I'll get an email that says somebody purchased something. But
so that should inspire you to just upload every show on there. Somebody throw you $5. Hey, buy your coffee.
Dude, you want to talk about uploading every show? You got the right person on the phone right now. Like, no, not me, Ben. Ben had to upload every single live show. You should know exactly how many shows we have, Ben.
It takes so much time. It takes so. It took so much time that I wasn't even counting anymore. I was like, what is it, Sisyphus chipping away at the?
Yeah.
You put it as part of your routine at the end of the day. Before you go to bed, you start uploading a show, and when you wake up in the morning.
Yeah. Well, the problem is there's so many steps. There's the artwork. You need to have it mixed. You need to have it cut up. There's show notes. Then there's the upload. Then there's the promotion. So there's like 6 steps, and it's just like to get everybody on the same page, like on a consistent schedule, is
not
just
happening.
Yeah, we need extra hands.
I put a bunch of shows up on archive.org, and that was just a pain in the butt because you had to have the exact file names. They gave you like examples of how it had to be written, and when you screwed up, there's nothing.
Yeah. Well,
I did one where I put the CDs backwards, so all the songs are just listed completely wrong.
That's okay.
Yeah. It's work. It's more work than people. Then you open Nugs and you see the show, but man, so many hours went into making that happen every time.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, I can appreciate that, but that's good to know that that's something that you would be, like looking for, because there are so many people out there really that have those skills, and
it.
I was going to say enjoy. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, I enjoy it. I just don't have time. That's why we're so backlogged. Like, I think the last show that I did was the one that had the Guar sit in. And I was like, I gotta do that one like ASAP, and I did it. I did it that weekend, I think. But I'm probably gonna do that after this call. But it'd be so great if we could just like dump it into the internet, and then like they get it, and we don't have to worry about it. That's awesome. Anyways,
yeah, one
can dream.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Oh, I hear you.
Might be easy to. I don't know. Call me. We'll talk.
Okay.
I was like, yeah, that sounds like something we would like to do.
It gets my brain churning, It definitely gets my brain churning there. All right, anything you guys want to throw out before we wrap this up?
Man, just like thank you to all the people who have been coming to the shows recently, and like I said, like a hello to all the new people. I feel like I've been seeing a bunch of new faces. Like, welcome to the Lenny gang. What did we decide on to call ourselves, Ben?
I don't know.
Kendallites, Kendallonians. We were going through what names it would be. So if you have any opinions on that, please send us an email. But yeah, like we'll see you out there on the road. We're grinding hard, new music.
First scoop on this podcast is we just bought a new van yesterday.
Yes,
that's right.
We haven't announced that to the world yet. Well, maybe
the one was breaking last February. It was breaking down. I remember you saying last February the old one was breaking down.
It was always breaking down.
Yeah, it was pretty much always breaking down. So
it has that new van smell.
A little better. Kendallorians, I like that too, Amanda. That could work.
Yeah, that play on the Mandalorian.
That's right. One of my favorites. Well, congrats on that. That's huge. You need to be, confident in what's getting you from point A to point Z or whatever it might be, and all this stuff in between. So that is a huge thing. I had one more question for you all, just because Jake, you were talking about, new fans, people coming up and all that. You all put on such, like I was saying earlier, such a high energy show. And really one of my favorite things about seeing you all is like, you really don't know what's coming next. Like, you're going to get great music, it's going to be super fun. But like in between all of that, like so many awesome things could honestly happen on stage. Like, do you feel as time is moving on, like, and, you're playing some of the same venues, but also, continuing to grow, is that part of your show like still firmly cemented, the part that's kind of open, it seems like, to just anything could happen? Or are you all kind of doing things a little bit differently in terms of how you're setting up set lists and time for, like that kind of stuff? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I think this might help answer that question. Is like, we're in a weird spot right now where every show like is kind of different, and we kind of have to tailor our set list in a way. Like if we have a 45-minute opening slot for Dopapod, then I'm kind of, when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, like we don't really have time for sleepers. We just got to like reel them in and like hit them with the songs that we know are going to kill. And sometimes that can like infringe on like a jam maybe, because we're trying to cram a lot in.
Play the hits, man. Play the hits, though.
Yeah. Whereas, eventually I want to get to a spot with more consistency where it's like, where we can, we're guaranteed we're going to have an hour and 30 minutes to like, at least to open up and let things happen a little more naturally instead of feeling that kind of pressure.
Right. Sure. 4 short ones and a long one. That's what Fish did for most when they opened for Santana back in '92. Okay. They would do 4 short ones, and then they did a long one, so they at least felt like the knucklehead like me who was there, who left when Santana came on, at least got a little something from
a little something, yeah.
Yeah.
Santana started preaching Jesus 4th song in, and we were like, we got a tank in the car.
It has gone through multiple like iterations, though, Amanda. Yeah. To your point about the set list and like how we call things and how songs get decided. Like, we are currently in a position where Ben pretty much like writes the draft list, not in order, but list, and then it's like sends it to us, and at sound check we'll go through it. If there's any ones that like need rehearsal, ideally we have time to run it, and if we don't have time to run it, we probably don't end up playing it. Mm-hmm. But and then on stage, once we got the talkbacks figured out with our in-ears, it's way more realistic to count on somebody being able to call songs as the night goes on without it being listed down. That's way easier if you don't have to, what did you say? Like yell across the stage and shit like that. Like, so we've been doing that for like at least a year and a half. I feel like it's been pretty solid in that state, if not longer. But it does keep it open. I think it's a good balance of like planning and improvisation to kind of make sure all the ideas are possible, and we'll choose some of them is basically how I feel about it.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then sometimes like, Brian or anybody will say like, hey, like this one I really want to do tonight. And then it's, they'll put a little star on it, and we'll make sure we get to it. And then if we have a sit-in, like with the Guar thing that happened recently, we knew he was coming up, and we planned with him. The last 2 songs of that set would be with him, with Sawborg. So there's sometimes there's less variables.
What did you play?
Sawborg Destructive from Guar came up for Cats in the House and Porridge.
Okay. And those are on Nugs.
Yeah, that was one of the best shows of the year, I think. We went heavy that night.
Nice. I got to listen to that. Very
Full
cool.
gear. Came up with all the gear on everything.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
His ass was out.
It was insane.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to dig that up. Maybe on YouTube I can find it too.
There's some videos on Instagram that I posted too, and we'll post more at some point just because they're funny.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome.
Yeah, crossover episode.
There you go.
He might be on the final recording too. He might be in the studio. We'll see.
Yes, I guess we should mention that. we're doing the funk thing for the 3 singles, and then after that we're doing 3 metal songs. So that's kind of like, what is that going to be? June, July, August, or is it July, August, September? I don't remember.
Yeah. That's how I feel about summer too. So like just you know.
The other day was the 50th anniversary of Priest's Sad Wings of Destiny, which some people may say created heavy metal.
Who does that? I'm not familiar with that.
You had Black Sabbath, which was more blues based, I guess.
Okay.
Whereas Judas Priest, when they put out Sad Wings of Destiny, it was more modal and taking in some of the progressive stuff that existed, which to me is the differentiation between heavy metal and hard rock. Is heavy metal has that more church thing almost, it's obsessed with the devil. And then the music almost has this old fugue-like thing,
That's a great point. Yeah, totally. I see that.
Judas Priest has a Virginia connection, actually. I think their drummer is from Virginia Beach or something like that.
Oh, nice.
He used to play around town.
Nice. KK Downing, the guitar player who left, he has this thing, KK's Priest, which sounds more like Slayer or something. It's pretty neat to, if you like that kind of thing.
Yeah, we were talking about doing Rain and Blood at one point.
Oh, nice.
Throwing it in, it goes back to that Cars throw-in thing. I don't know if I explained that well, but Cars is like arguably our most popular song. I'd say it is. Although HY Cheddar's beating it on Spotify now, but that's an aside. So for a while we got kind of bored of playing it, I would say. And we used to always do Jessica by the Allman Brothers in there. So I guess that's kind of the classic, like in the middle of the song and then go back to it. But then we just started putting in a bunch of different, I guess trolls is the word, into the middle. So recently we did Never Gonna Give You Up, Rick Astley, but we've put Chop Suey by System of a Down and a bunch of random songs I'll just throw in the middle to kind of mess
Spice
with people's favorite song. But still give it to them, I don't know.
So fresh. I mean, you got to keep people on their toes, keep them wondering what's coming up next. I love it. And it's fun for you, I'm sure too.
This is slightly embarrassing, but when I first joined the band back in 2016, I remember we played a gig in DC at this place called Bayou, which doesn't exist anymore. But
it's not the old Bayou, it was a newer Bayou.
Right, yeah, it was the newer Bayou of the two. And we were playing Cars, and I didn't really register that Cars was this really popular song for this band that I had started playing with, which is how I viewed it at the time. And we were doing the Jessica throw-in every time. Pretty much, we were playing the song. We were doing Jessica every time, but I didn't know that was a separate song. I didn't know that was a separate song. I thought that was a part of the song. I was like, wow, whenever we do that solo section in the middle, it's fucking awesome. People love that part. And they were like, yeah, that's an Allman Brothers song. And I was like, oh, that's so rad. Yeah. I'd never heard it. They showed me so much music since I've grown up. I joined them when I was 18 and I'm 26 now. And it's crazy. I have learned so much from my older brothers.
There you go.
So my Allman Brothers, Grateful Dead, they showed me the Rolling Stones. Okay, that one's a lie. But the other ones are true.
The old Bayou, I saw Fish 5 times there.
Oh my God.
Yes, and I hit on the bartender the whole time. I was in love with the bartender who worked at the back bar, and I would go see anybody who played. And
yeah, quite a bit.
Guessing it didn't work out.
Gin and tonic. No, it did not work out. But that's okay. I often wonder where she is now, because once it got to be 92, I didn't want to drive to DC anymore. The cops got a little more. They were always there. You know? They would be sitting in the gas stations at 3 a.m, and that's when I'd happen to be driving by after 5 gin and tonics or 10 gin and tonics. Don't want to go out like that. All right, let me pop this off.
If you are enjoying All That Jam, please like and subscribe to our social media channels at All That Jam Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or visit our website, allthatjampod.com. Make sure to sign up for our email list and tune in every week for new episodes.
Also, look for full interviews on our YouTube channel. And remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long.